Before you could read, before you could lie, before you could tie a single knot, you were already a whole person. You taught yourself an entire language out of nothing at all. 100 faces were already known to you by heart. Fear and joy arrived at full volume every waking hour for something like 1,000 days straight. And you cannot remember 1 second of it. Not a blur, not a fragment, just a clean blank. It is the largest deletion in a human life, and the same blank sits inside every single person you have ever met. We have a gentle name for this hole, and we almost never look straight down into it. The years when you were most alive, learning faster than you ever will again, are the exact years you kept nothing from. And here is the part that should bother you more than it does. That blank is not there because nothing happened back then. It is there because something reached in afterward and wiped it. The comfortable explanation is that a baby is simply too young and too unfinished to make any real memories at all. That explanation is wrong. In the lab, infants far too young to say a word remember plainly. Teach a baby that kicking one foot swings a mobile hung above the crib, and weeks later, that same baby still kicks the instant it sees it. The recording was being made the whole time. Those memories existed. So the real question was never why they went unwritten. It is who reached in and erased them. The culprit is not weakness, it is growth. A young brain is the most furious construction site in all of nature, and the very part that files your memories, a small seahorse-shaped structure called the hippocampus, is being built while it is already running. It is flooded with brand new cells at a rate you will never witness again as long as you live. Every fresh neuron forces its way into the circuit, and as it wires itself in, it shoulders the older connections aside. The filing cabinet is being torn out and rebuilt every week, and last week's files no longer fit the drawers. This is not some private human glitch, it is a feature, and an ancient one. When scientists quietly slowed that flood of new cells inside young mice, the little animals held on to memories they were supposed to lose. Force that same flood to run faster inside grown mice, and the adults begin forgetting like infants all over again. The very engine that lets a small child swallow an entire world at impossible speed is the same engine that burns the earliest record away. You traded your first memories for the brain that could have kept them. There is a second lock on the door, and it was named more than a century ago. To store a memory the way a grown mind does, you need somewhere to put it. A sense of an I that things are happening to, and the words to pin it in place. The infant had none of that yet. That door tends to close somewhere around the age of 3 or 4, right as language and a sense of self come online. A memory laid down before all that is written in a format the older, talking mind can no longer open. The child kept a careful diary in a script you, the adult, never learned to read. One clear sign that this is not just broken hardware is how the age of that first memory drifts from one place to another. How far back a person can reach depends on the language and the stories they were raised inside. Children brought up among Maori elders, who tell the family past in rich detail even to the very young, reach back earlier than almost anyone toward 2.5. Western adults tend to land near 3.5. In other cultures, the door closes later still, closer to 5. The brain is the same machine everywhere. What slides that line is how much a child is handed the words to hold on to the past. Now comes the part that turns a sad story into an unsettling one. The memories may not be destroyed at all. In mice, researchers tracked down the exact cells that held one lost infant memory, switched those cells back on with a pulse of light, and the animal suddenly remembered what it should never have been able to reach. The record was still physically there, sealed away, but whole. And only recently, brain scanners caught human infants in the very act, the hippocampus lighting up as it filed specific memories those children will never knowingly recall. The tape is not blank. It is quietly playing into a locked room. So the blank may not be an empty room at all. The harder scientists look, the more it seems to be a full one, lit and sealed. And the strangest reason of all is why you cannot get inside. No key has been lost. The lockmaker is gone. Whatever brain recorded those years was rewired so completely, cell by cell, that the system once able to read its own files no longer exists anywhere. You did not lose the memories. Instead, You became a different machine that cannot run the old format. The child you are straining so hard to picture was not an earlier you with a poorer memory. It was a different person, and you are simply what grew over the top of them. Every adult who has ever lived is the survivor of a person they can no longer remember being. The first face you ever truly loved is in there. So is the first time you stood up on your own 2 feet. The terror and the wonder of a world that was brand new, all of it filed, all of it kept, and none of it readable to you now. You walk around on top of a sealed archive of your own beginning every single day, and you will never once pry it open. We call it forgetting, as though it were a simple failure. It is closer to a sacrifice. To become you at all, the brain had to write straight over the one who carried you this far, and it does not stop the day you grow up. That same quiet editor is still at work tonight, deciding what this very day gets to keep and what it will softly let go. You will not feel it happen. Nobody ever does. Mind the footnotes. Next time, why the memories you are the most certain of are the ones most likely to be lies.